Richest Man in Babylon. In the heart of ancient Babylon, where the Euphrates carried trade and tales, a man named Arcad became known as the richest man in the city. He did not inherit a kingdom. He began as a humble scribe, a boy with calloused fingers and a steady mind. Yet his name came to mean one thing across the bazaars and temples: wealth made right. People asked, how did Arcad, once poor, become rich? They gathered in the temple and the marketplace, candles flickering, to hear his answer. Arcad spoke plainly. He said that wealth was not magic nor favor from the gods. It was the result of laws as certain as the rivers flow. Those who learned and obeyed them found prosperity. Those who ignored them found want. He taught the 7 cures for a lean purse, simple rules to mend an empty pocket. First, he said, save at least 1/10 of every coin you earn. Let the smallest loyal coin become a companion, and do not spend it. A man who learns to keep a portion of his gains trains himself to grow. Second, control thy expenditures. Do not confuse necessary desires with foolish wants. Arcad told of a baker who enlarged his appetite with every silver piece he earned until none remained for seed capital. Thus, the wise learn contentment without surrendering ambition. Third, make thy gold multiply. The saved coin is not treasure to hide. It is seed to sow. Invest coins where they may breed offspring. A trade, a craft, a loan that returns more than it took. Arcad reminded them that money, like a family, prospers when it is active and cared for. Fourth, guard thy treasures from loss. A greedy or foolish venture is a cliff for the unwary. Seek counsel of those experienced in the field and avoid schemes that promise much for little work. Fools rush where maps are not drawn and call ruin the will of the gods. Fifth, own thy home. A man who rents forever pays his future into another's pocket. A house is security. A hearth is a foundation upon which other fortunes are built. Sixth, ensure a future income. Prepare for age and for the unexpected. Arcad spoke of a man who could not work in his later years and found himself dependent and shamed. Plan and provide so that dignity remains when strength wanes. Seventh, increase thy ability to earn. Knowledge and skill are the best investments. Master your craft. Learn accounting for trade. Practice clear speech. Cultivate reputation. A man with skill will find opportunity. A man without skill follows the dust of others' successes. Arcad's lessons were not merely rules, but parables. He told of a potter who saved a tiny portion of each sale and used those coins to buy a wheel. The wheel made more pots, the pots made more silver, and in time the potter's sons went to school instead of to the kiln. He told of a merchant who lent to a neighbor at a fair rate and had that loan returned with gratitude and business later on. The city learned that small disciplined acts yield noble results. Then Arcad spoke of the 5 laws of gold, guidelines on how to keep and grow wealth. First, gold comes easily and in increasing quantity to those who save 1/10 of their earnings. Second, gold labors diligently and multiplies for the wise owner who finds profitable employment for it. Third, gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests only where principal is safe. Fourth, gold slips away from those who invest in ventures they do not understand or follow promises that sound too grand. Fifth, gold flees the man who trusts it to the counsel of the unskillful or the impulsive. He warned against 2 great enemies, greed and fear. Greed would drive a man into rash ventures that promised great return and little effort. Fear would keep a man from action, freezing coins into shadow and preventing them from finding gain. Wisdom, Arcad said, walks calmly between these extremes. One evening, a young man asked Arcad for an immediate fortune. Arcad smiled and told him a story of gradual change. "Ask not for the harvest in a day," he said, "but plant 1 seed today." The young man left with a single coin set aside each day. Years later, he returned with a small store and the patience to see it grow. Arkad also taught about secure counsel. When a merchant seeks advice, he must seek those who have prospered in the same field. Not every successful man is wise for every trade. The shepherd knows sheep, the mason knows stone. Find experience that matches the need. Beyond rules and parables, Arkad emphasized character. Riches without honor are like hollow vessels. They may clink, but they are empty inside. Be honest, keep your promises, pay your debts, and be generous when prudence allows. A reputation, once won, brings opportunities and shields against ruin. He recounted a noble example. A banker who refused a dishonest gain and thereby earned the trust of the city's great houses. When disaster struck, those houses lent him aid because his word was known as bond. Throughout his teaching, Arkad reframed wealth as service. Money is not an idol. It is a tool to supply need and create value. Those who master it can build barns for harvests, temples for learning, and towns where children may flourish. Thus, wealth becomes a force for civilization, not merely a sign of vanity. And yet, Arkad never promised ease. Prosperity required labor, the sharpening of skill, and the courage to act with prudence. It required a lifetime of small correct choices more than a single bold stroke of fortune. When Arkad finished, the market still hummed, the Euphrates still glinted, and the day moved toward sunset. But among those who had listened, seeds had been planted. A potter set aside a coin. A young apprentice signed up for lessons in trade mathematics. A merchant sought counsel and delayed a rash speculation. The richest man in Babylon had not given them gold that day. He had done something more enduring. He had taught them how to make gold follow their will.